Greetings, family. Welcome to the African Exodus show. I'm your host, Tierney Cherie, here to you with another video. Before we get started with today's segment, I want to remind you, if you have not already, please do add yourself to my Telegram channel. Telegram is a decentralized platform that I use in order to stay connected with you all outside of YouTube. But with that, let's get started with African and world news. Very sad to report this, but I believe that an invasion of Haiti right now is imminent. So definitely we have to keep our prayers going for our people inside of that island nation. Now, the reason I believe that is because you might remember I've been reporting on this for quite a few weeks, but the U.S. keeps dropping hints that they want to go in Haiti, as well as other forces that are allied with the United States. And it seems like this is culminating inside of an invasion. It's going to be led by African forces. And this is very important and a very important aspect of this. Many people know that the United States is not loved inside of Haiti. Many people know that the imperialist nation is very much hated in Haiti because of the role of numerous interventions, as well as the United States collaborating many times to derail the Haitian people's freedom. Now, the United States is aware of this, just like all of us are. And that's why I think last fall, whenever there was a lot of talk that there's going to be a possible invasion of Haiti led by the U.S., that's why I think they decided not to go in, because they recognize the anti-U.S. sentiment. And also there's anti-U.S. sentiment building up abroad. And they want to keep the international community as much on their side as they can, because I believe the United States is preparing for war on its own. If you see what's coming out about U.S. officials provoking China and Russia, it seems as though they're preparing for war on their own. So they want the international community to continue to support them. So all the while they're trying to maintain a good public image, they really want to invade Haiti, because Haiti as a nation is a problem to their control over the Western Hemisphere and obviously the world. But they don't want to invade themselves. Instead, they'll use us. And that seems like that's what exactly is going to happen. So let's just jump right into this. I want to lay this out as far as a number of news reports that have come out about havoc happening in Haiti, about chaos happening in Haiti. And it's painting a picture for you. It's trying to stroke your emotions and get you to feel like, oh my gosh, we have to do something to help these people in Haiti. So this is on July 26th. There was an article that was put out, calls for Haiti intervention mount, but no one wants to lead. Now, haunted by previous failures in Haiti and worried about getting stuck in a deadly quagmire, the international community is reluctant to answer a UN call for a special intervention force, experts say. There's a strong case for deploying an international force to Haiti, but it could be a very risky mission, said Richard Gowen, an analyst for the International Crisis Group. Gangs are well armed, and there is no clear exit strategy if a mission does deploy. United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres relaying a request from the Haitian Prime Minister. And I always have to remind people, or just in case anyone is watching this channel for the first time and is not aware, the Prime Minister of Haiti was not elected by Haiti. He was put into office by the United States, just like the President of Haiti was put into office by the United States, and beyond a constitutional mandate remained in power. So he was an illegitimate leader. So this same person has been put into power by the U.S., is being backed by U.S. money. He's beholden to U.S. corporate interests, and he's not interested in representing the population of Haiti, who has been very much an organized force in trying to push for true change and revolution in their favor and not in the favor of these corporatists. So this is a situation where the person who is asking for help, this guy, Ariel Henry, he's saying, help us, we have these gangs. This person is a paid-for puppet by the United States and the imperialist nations. He works for them. He doesn't work for Haiti. And what he really wants is their help getting control of the island nation so that he can rule and do what they want him to do over there. So he's been asking for an intervention since October of 2022. Remember that date. And the United States, though, and this is where it tells you the U.S. is being very strategic about what they want to do in Haiti. It says the United States, with its checkered history of intervention in the country, does not want to invade. However, Kenya and Jamaica, two black countries, said they would consider staffing such a mission. Another fear, and this is something we should all understand, there's no good intervention inside of this country. Another fear is that there will be casualties among the intervention. It's said that urban warfare is very difficult and the danger of killing innocent civilians would be great. Now, this was put out on July 26th. July 27th, another article, another report is released. U.S. orders government personnel and family members to leave Haiti. This is the United States government telling their personnel get out of Haiti on the 27th, a day after this other report. So the U.S. State Department on Thursday ordered a non-emergency government personnel and family members to leave Haiti as soon as possible, citing, and this has been said, for years now, kidnapping, crime, civil unrest, and poor health infrastructure. Why the immediate or imminent report coming out about something that they have been claiming consistently about Haiti for years? Now, the U.S. State Department said that citizens not working for the government should also leave Haiti as soon as possible by commercial or other privately available transportation. They said on this date, kidnapping is widespread and victims regularly include U.S. citizens. Kidnappers may use sophisticated planning or take advantage of unplanned opportunities, and even convoys have been attacked. Again, this was reported on July 27th. Then on July 30th, a report comes out that an American nurse and her daughter have been kidnapped. And I do think they were really kidnapped, by the way, but I think that they were kidnapped by so-called gangs that have affiliations with the deep state. That's just my belief. Now, an American nurse and her daughter have been kidnapped in Haiti, the U.S. State Department said on Sunday, as it urged people to not travel there because of the rapidly deteriorating security situation. Alex Dorisonville, a nurse for the El Rio Haiti Aid Group, and her daughter were abducted on Thursday. El Roy, which runs a school and a ministry in Port-au-Prince, the capital, said the two were taken captives from the campus. A State Department spokesperson said it's unaware of the reports of the kidnap. It's aware of the reports of the kidnapping in Haiti. We are in regular contact with Haitian authorities and will continue to work with them and our U.S. government interagency partners. So this woman was reportedly kidnapping. Like I said, I believe she was kidnapping, but as I will explain, I believe that the people who are causing this disturbance for an intervention probably are sponsored by deep state entities. Now that, again, was on July 30th that report was released. July 31st. Millions in Haiti starve as food blocked by gangs rots on the ground. Haiti is in the grips of a ravaging hunger crisis. Nearly 5 million Haitians, half of the country, do not get enough food on a daily basis. Now, no, what they're not saying in this new report is that this is not something new. This is something that's been ongoing, and also something that is a direct causal effect of the fact that Haitian lands have been sold off to corporations that are of the United States and other Western entities, but they'll leave that out for convenience. Nearly 2 million people are in what the food program calls an IPC4 emergency, the second worst hunger classification, marked by acute malnutrition and excess mortality, just one step shy of famine and starvation. Tens and thousands of people in a sprawling slum called Cité Soleil were formally classified as in famine last year, the first time WEP has recorded that in Haiti. Now, this came out on July 31st. Then you have on July 31st also Kenya, the country of Kenya, the one that so many of you were just rallying about recently because the president had some anti-LGBT things to say. The president that y'all were just rallying for recently because the president had said that he doesn't want to use the U.S. dollar anymore for inter-African trade. And what I told you was that protest. There's a protest happening in Kenya. I believe it's not about trying to get him out of power, but it was really a warning shot from the U.S. that he better follow their directives, or else he will be done away with, as other African leaders have been in the past. Now, this shows you, though, that the country of Kenya is still very much controlled by the U.S., still very much a base for AFRICOM, because the UN welcomes Kenya's offer to positively consider leading a police force to combat Haiti gangs. So this came out on the 31st. The United Nations chief on Monday welcomed Haiti's offer to positively consider leading a multinational police force to help combat Haiti's gangs and improve security in the violence-wrecked Caribbean nation. And what they don't state here is why, because obviously gangs are not a Haitian problem, and gangs are all over the world. I'm sure Kenya has its own share of gangs or its own internal issues. I'm sure the terrorist groups that are being sponsored by also the U.S. deep state that are ravaging East Africa right now is something that would be more than great if those same resources were given to that issue. Yet Haitian gangs in a Caribbean nation so far from Kenya. But look, it gets better. Haitian's Prime Minister Ariel Henry sent an urgent message and appeal in October for the immediate deployment of a specialized armed force in sufficient quantity to stop the gangs. UN Security General Antonio Guterres has been appealing unsuccessfully since then for a lead, but Kenya's foreign ministry said Saturday its offer includes a commitment of 1,000 police to help train and assist the Haitian National Police restore normalcy to the country and protect strategic installments. Kenya stands with the persons of African descent across the world, including those in the Caribbean, and aligns with the African Union diaspora's policy in our own commitment to pan-Africanism. I'm going to repeat that again. So they said they stand with persons of African descent. So this is what I keep telling y'all about with this pan-Africanism that is being weaponized against us. Kenya stands with persons of African descent across the world, including those in the Caribbean. And even though, by the way, the African Union received the petition from that same country, I believe it was Haiti, to join the African Union, and they rejected that request. But they stand with people of African descent across the world, including those in the Caribbean, and aligns itself with the African Union's diaspora policy and our own commitment to pan-Africanism. And in this case, to reclaiming the Atlantic crossing. They are really, really, really just pushing it to not just go into Haiti with the UN. And if you don't know why this is so bad and this is so horrible to go into Haiti to fight these gangs, then you have to look up the previous history of the United Nations in Haiti. They caused havoc, they caused chaos, they caused crisis whenever the United Nations has gone into Haiti in the past, and they've done also to protect their West interests. So if to completely cover this horrible idea to invade this island country and dress it up as Pan-Africanism, that lets you know, first of all, African people across the world, they get your emotional attachment to the idea of Pan-Africanism. They understand that you want Pan-Africanism on a surface level. They understand that, and they'll use that word Pan-Africanism, and they'll use African unity and the African Union's diaspora policy to dress up an attempt to undermine the sovereignty of African people, because this is all about sovereignty. Understand, Haiti's biggest problem to the West, to the international world order, is they don't behold to U.S. sovereignty, and they'll do whatever they can to get them to do that. Now, Kenya's foreign ministry said in its proposed deployment will crystallize once. So this tells you how they all have this planned out. They said, it will crystallize once the Security Council adopts a resolution giving a mandate for the force and other Kenyan constitutional processes are undertaken. Kenya task force plans to undertake an assessment of Haiti within the next few weeks, which will inform and guide the mandate operational requirements for the mission. So this was said, again, date for this article was on July 31st. Then, so this is actually something I want to go back to, but this right here, on August 1st, the U.S. a day later puts forth the UN resolution. So Kenya says, hey, we'll do this if someone puts in a resolution in the Security Council. And who does it? The United States puts forward a UN resolution to authorize a Kenyan-led police force mission to fight gangs in Haiti. The United States said Tuesday it will put forth a UN Security Council resolution that will authorize Kenya to lead a multinational police force to combat gangs in Haiti that control much of the capital and are spreading throughout the Caribbean. What is the evidence that Haitian gangs are spreading throughout the Caribbean? No one presented that. The U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield told a news conference at the start of the U.S. presidency of the council this month that we welcome Kenya's decision to lead a multinational police force, and we will be working on a resolution to support that effort. Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry sent an urgent appeal. This is talking again about his appeal for help. More than 9 months later, Kenya was the first country to positively consider leading a police force, offering to send 1,000 police to help train and assist the Haitian National Police to restore normalcy to the country. And then Thomas Greenfield said that the situation is unusual. What is happening in Haiti is unusual. This is not a traditional peacekeeping force. This is not a traditional security situation, she said. We have gangs who have undertaken the country that are terrorizing civilians every single day. Now, clearly, Kenya is taking directives from the United States. If you don't know, Kenya is, I believe, the biggest sponsor of AFRICOM, and AFRICOM is the U.S. command inside of the African continent. So many of the so-called militaries in Africa are not actually the militaries of the state. They are extensions of the U.S. military. So Kenya, I believe, is the lead as far as AFRICOM forces inside of the African continent. So they're heavily, heavily relied upon by U.S. forces. And the fact that Kenya is now volunteering to lead this international police force, one that has been spoken about, we know recently. So recently, CARICOM actually put forth a statement that they were in support of a U.S. intervention. This same police force that has been spoken about since October, because what you'll find out is, I said, remember the date of October 2022, back then Bahamas said that they would be willing to possibly lead this type of initiative. And by the way, guess who comes forward and says that they're willing to help Kenya? The Bahamas has just come forward and said, we're going to send some forces with you. So this has been in a win. This has been being negotiated behind the scenes. We're just now seeing the work of the deep state, the economic hitmen. We're just now seeing it manifest. And now they are basically planning for an imminent invasion of Haiti. Now, the only thing that's in the way of this is the fact that it has to go through the United Nations Security Council. And of course, we know who's on the Security Council. It's obviously the United States, France, but it's also Russia and China, who are against the United States Western hegemonic order. However, what I think the United States did that was very sly in this instance, because obviously if the United States were to just put forth a resolution that they themselves lead a multinational police force to invade Haiti once again, obviously China and Russia would probably veto that resolution. But what they did that was very smart this time is that they said, Kenya, you're going to do it, because if you don't know, Kenya is also a Russian ally. So Russia or China, and it's also Chinese ally. So if Russia or China were to veto Kenya going forward when doing this, that would basically look bad, many would say, to Africa. You're vetoing an African country trying to rescue Africans. At least that's how the United States wants it to be viewed. So this, to me, means that there might be, unfortunately, this is why we have to definitely keep our people in prayer, and also we have to stand in solidarity with them at all times. There could definitely be an invasion of Haiti in the near future. I just gave you 6 articles coming out, one after another. Take this as a lesson as how the state operates, the deep state operates. Whenever they want to do something, they build a narrative, and they've already built this narrative. It started long ago. The gangs. I reported recently there's been a protest inside of Miami and inside of all over the U.S. of Haitian people who are saying, "Oh, we want an intervention," or even if they weren't saying intervention, we want something to be done about the fact that our people are in danger. Sometimes these protests that are even saying things that are good are being supported, or at least being be elevated in the national news and the press for that exact reason. They need to build a narrative. So I wanted to just talk really quickly again about the gangs in Haiti. I more and more, the more I understand and study how the deep state operates, whether it's terrorist groups, okay, or such as Al Qaeda and ISIS, or even these street gangs or international gangs, whatever, these people many times are having affiliations with the deep state being the chief one's the CIA that I could think of. Many times they are being co-opted, and the reason that they will have things that they do that don't necessarily make sense. So, for example, going into going after a missionary who has a school in Haiti and kidnapping her. The reason they will do those things because they will be infiltrated many times, or even the whole entire organization taking directions from these counterintelligence agencies. So to paint the narrative to paint the picture for you, so you will have a certain gang member who is talking to the CIA, the FBI, whoever, who wants to get something stirred up inside of a certain community so that it can serve the interest of the state that's trying to basically do something. And so they'll go and they'll talk to their other people. Let's do this. Let's kidnap this person. I heard there's money here. And then all of a sudden you have the narrative being built. Gangs in Haiti, gangs in Haiti. No one was thinking about these same gangs in Haiti whenever it was not involving Americans. But now you have an American that's kidnapped. Oh, wow. Now what are we going to do? So I believe this invasion is imminent. I believe that these so-called gangs are sponsored by the state. That's my belief. And I believe we definitely have to keep watch and definitely stand in solidarity with our people, because we know what happened last time that the UN intervened or disrupted the people of Haiti, and it could be even worse this time. So definitely prayers to our people in Haiti. We're going to go to the next story. This is just a follow up really from last week. We talked about the coup in Niger. I wanted to give people more context now that more has come out. So the EU has condemned the arrest of ministers by putschists. Now, ousted President Mohamed Bazoum's party has warned that the West African country is at risk of becoming a dictatorial and totalitarian regime after a series of arrests. The Niger Party for Democracy and Socialism denounced the abusive arrest of 4 ministers, interior petroleum mines, and transport, as well as the heads of its national executive committees. The European Union has condemned the coup in Niger, a country it considers to be an essential bulwark of stability in the volatile Sahel region. It suspended the budgetary aid to Niamey and warned that it could impose new sanctions following this putsch. Mr. Bazoum, a Western ally, whose election was just over 2 years ago, marked Niger's first peaceful transition of power since independence and was ousted on July 26 by the elite presidential guard. Niger is one of the poorest countries in the world despite its uranium resources. That's the story of Africa. Plagued by attacks from groups like the Islamic State and Al Qaeda, and it's the 3rd country in the region to suffer a coup since 2020 after Mali and Burkina Faso. And the person who wrote the article forgot it's actually the 4th country because we have Guinea-Bissau, and I even believe we might have had another West African country that had a good coup, so it might be the 5th. I know obviously Sudan had one that was an East African country, but yeah, so it's at least the 4th West African country to have a coup in recent years. Now, first things first, who's the one causing this? It's going to be alleged that it's Russia, and that Russia is basically sponsoring the people who enacted the coup. We don't know yet. However, I will say that the narrative is definitely being built if that is the case, because you hear things about people waving Russian flags. And I always wonder, where do they get these Russian flags? Like, are they just selling Russian flags in African countries, or are people giving them to them? So the narrative is being built that this is possibly the Wagner group or some other Western or Russian affiliated group that is sponsoring this coup. Niger, as we said, it was a ally to Western forces. So obviously that's also going to go towards the narrative that these types of coups are being done by Russia. I think the significant thing that we have to take away, though, is that we are being poised again for some type of international dispute. Whenever you have a number of West African countries all inside of the same area having the same thing happen, it's building again a narrative. The narrative being that we have to do something to stop this. We have to do something to reverse this because democracy necessitates this. I even seen an article that said that this coup is a threat to democracy. Now, if you understand anything, and I'm not a pro-democracy person necessarily, but if you understand anything about politics inside of Africa, you understand that these so-called democracies are literally like photocracies, if that's a word. They don't operate for the people. They operate for the interest of the people who are paying the politicians, the people who are taking the land, the people that are land grabbing. So the so-called democracy, the test to democracy, the idea of democracy, if it's a representative government, was already done long ago. That has nothing to do with coups. Coups, if anything, are a sign that the democracy is not working or not operating as it's promised to. So I think that this is going to lead to a bigger narrative being built, one that's going to possibly lead to some type of future aggression whenever we see what's happening with Russia and the United States continuing to go at each other. Obviously in China, I think that could possibly be a future narrative where you're going to see these countries being pulled into pulled into despair as far as being seen as Russian puppets that have uprooted the legitimate Western countries or Western allies that were previously ruling these African countries justly. So that's what I think about this. I have one more thing that I just want to report. So let's go to that next story. The last thing that we're going to talk about, so many of you might remember last week I was talking about the Russia-African summit that was going to happen. It already happened, I believe a week ago or a week and a half ago at this particular day. So the president of Eritrea has some very interesting remarks that I want to play, and just some things that I want you to pick up on, and then we'll end out the video after his remarks. Eritrea is a country that has faced sanctions, significant sanctions. It's a country that recently was going through sanctions again because of their involvement with the Tigray and Ethiopian crisis. So this is a country that has went face to face with Western imperialism many times over. And something that was very significant that I want us to understand here is that, as the president of Eritrea said very clearly, this Russia-Ukraine war, it might look like it's the dispute among Europeans over somewhere inside of the world. But when you understand the entire thing that led to this war, it was not a dispute that happened because it had to happen. It was a dispute that happened because it was provoked by NATO. And the reason why that's significant is because the provocation of a war that's a proxy war, let's be very clear, it's still a proxy war, NATO has not gone in fully, was literally done for the purpose of defeating any possibility that Russia would have hegemony inside of the world system, even multipolarity, when you have a number of big countries having that type of hegemony. And also, I think the big reason is because Russia and China together, they feel like they could take on China more if Russia is weakened. Now, the thing about this, though, is that we have a situation now where we're seeing the United States, who is actively provoking Russia for war and seems to want to also provoke China, fighting for its role in the world. That's what this war is about. It's really about the role of Western hegemony inside of the world. Now, whether you want there to be a multipolar order, whether you don't want there to be any world order, ideally, right? You should understand the reason why these wars are happening and what they're going to lead to. I don't believe that the United States is going to walk away ultimately from this whole conflict, culminating with not just the Ukraine war, but also the Taiwan war that I think is coming very soon. I don't think they're going to walk away from it the same as they have in the past. And it could honestly be a significant blow to U.S. hegemony. And I just think that honestly based on reading of scripture and prophecy. But we should also know that the perception of America in the world is not what it used to be. The perception of NATO in the world is not what it used to be. And I would say that the perception of these forces in Africa is not what it used to be. Because if you understand the realization that NATO is not good for us, how much that became amplified after NATO murdered Gaddafi, someone who was trying to advocate for a more independent Africa. I mean, that was highlighted for the entire continent to see these people are not for us. And if we're going to have any freedom, it can't be with these people still having power over us. So with that, I want you to listen to the remarks from the president of Eritrea, and I will end the video after that. So I'll see you all in the next video.
Talking on these meetings, and one issue that worries me, I just want to articulate that issue and say our views, at least how we see the situation from our perspective. When people talk about Russia, Ukraine, I say there is no Russia-Ukraine war at all. There is no Russia-Ukraine conflict. This is war declared by NATO on Russia. The war declared by NATO on Russia is not only for Russia, it's for dominating the whole world. It's for hegemony. This is an agenda developed after the end of the Cold War. They came up with this fantasy about containing Russia, containing any power, small, big, that challenge them technologically, economically, socially, culturally. They have to contain everybody. This defunct ideology is a defunct ideology. I say Russia did not do its preparation to face this declared war. Even though Russia was aware about the dynamics of what was going on. NATO is defunct. NATO does not exist. NATO is under intensive care. EU does not exist. EU is under intensive care. Now, 30 years ago, when they decided to contain Russia, they felt that was the major threat for them. China was not considered a threat at the time. Now they know. They missed the point. They couldn't contain Russia. They will never contain Russia. Ukraine is a sacrifice. Ukraine is a price they have to pay. They will not pay it on their own. They will provide billions and billions, even trillions, to continue this war. And now we need to have the narrative straight. This is not war between Russia and Ukraine. This is declared war against Russia because Russia was the major threat at the time. Now they can't dominate the whole world. They have to defeat Russia so that they hegemonize everything. No one should be their equal technologically, militarily they have to be superior, economically they have to control everything, grab every resource here and there, technology under their control. That dream is no more. Now the fighting going in Ukraine, it's their battleground. That battleground is a sacrifice for them. And we need to put this straight on the record. When a big meeting like this, Russia, Africa is held, people will have to come to a consensus. This is not war between Russia and Ukraine, to me. And anyone who has a different explanation will have to tell me. This is war declared on Russia, but declared war for hegemony. The last 30 years, we have seen the details of the mechanics of this declared war. This last event is the final phase to me. It will end sometime. NATO will not get out of intensive care. EU will not get out of intensive care. These are systems that are crumbling. It's only a matter of time. And the whole world will have to be prepared not to defend Russia, but stand with Russia so that this hegemonistic idea will not prevail at any point in time in history. How do we design a plan? How do we fail this one without any further cost? They are printing money. They are not manufacturing anything at all. It's printing money. And this has been one of their weapons globally. The monetary system, the global monetary system controlled by dollar and euro has been used. Sanctions here, sanctions there, grabbing this account, grabbing that account has been one of their tools. This is not going to continue indefinitely. And we need a new financial architecture globally, not controlled by euro, not controlled by the dollar, not controlled by other currencies. To me, this failure of the attempt to contain Russia will immediately move to the east. Containing China is their next agenda. They may be playing a very deceptive tactic on trying to tell everyone, oh no, we have to work with China, we have to do this and that. Their miscalculation about China has proved to be wrong. They felt probably they have the technology, they have everything. The Chinese can only copy. They will never equal them. So they will contain Russia, but make friendship with China and continue taking advantage of that so that containing Russia will be easier for them to do. Now China is out of control. Containing China from Taiwan, from India, from Japan, from South Korea, from Australia. How do they do it? How will they do it? That challenge is coming next. But first they need to deal with Russia. How are they going to deal with Russia and then next move to China? How can they deal with everybody? How do they contain us? Imagine this tiny Eritrea is being contained by them. We're being punished with their sanctions every time. We have to be punished because we're not bowing. We are not bound to their conditionalities. We are a very small threat. We are not even a threat to them. But they have to contain us. Sanctions, 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 conflict here, conflict there. Now, I think we need to strategize. And I say Russia will have to lead this strategy. Russia will have to design a plan on facing this declared war. Not only on Russia, but it's a global war. And everybody should come and join Russia on this strategy. The sooner the better. The easier way we can control this hegemonistic strategy and frustrate that strategy, we give peace. Development will come. Nobody is going to bother us. Nobody is going to bully everybody. Sanction, bully, defamation, demonize, psychological warfare, sanctions. We need a strategy, an alternative strategy for this hegemonistic declaration of war. And every event, bilateral, multilateral, will have to adopt this strategy. And that's why I said during my intervention, Russia should design a strategy. It's not because Russia will have to do everything. We can make our contributions. It's a matter of ideas. How do we face this hegemonistic strategy so that we can implement bilateral programs, technology, industrialization, agriculture, energy, water management, services, tourism, life, at all. How do we do that? Now, and we have to take this into a historical context. This is a continuation of the classical slavery. After slavery came colonialism. Slavery was exterminating populations, exterminating 9 million in the Congo, exterminating the Red Indians in North America, in Canada, exterminating indigenous population and grabbing their land, controlling. And when they control land, they have to take slaves from Africa for their cotton plantation in the United States. That was slavery. Continues to be slavery as is. And then industrialization came. When industrialization comes up, it's a matter of grabbing other resources, a continuation of slavery under a different form. Colonialism came. They had to colonize land so that they grab land, they control labor, they enslave everybody. Neocolonialism was there. The Cold War, Russia was the hope for the people of the world when the Soviet Union was there. Unfortunately, leaders in the Soviet Union made their mistake to see the collapse of the Soviet Union, which was a historic tragedy, as you at one point mentioned. That was a historic strategy. In the course of the history of humanity, that was a catastrophe. And that was one of the reasons that encouraged people like Fukuyama, Huntington to design their strategy of hegemony. Because the Soviet Union collapsed, the Soviet Union disintegrated them, they felt they can control the world for the coming 50 years or 100 years without anyone challenging them. And that was when this hegemonistic fantasia was developed. Hegemonize. We have seen what they have done the last 30 years. It's a continuation of the same ideology of slavery, colonialism, neo-colonialism, then hegemony. The world will have to get out of this state of affair. We are at a crossroads. We believe we are in a transition to a new world order. How do we design a new world order? How can we possibly strategize? How do we mobilize resources? How do we make people aware everywhere that this threat is there for them? And then they get out of this so that they can enjoy their liberty, their freedom, their development without this hegemonistic idea. So I think this issue will have to be exhaustively addressed, and we need to come up with concrete plans. We will be making our modest contribution, but we have the idea that this, say, the Russia-Africa partnership is one part of the bigger global partnership that will have to be developed. And Russia will have to take the lead because Russia has been targeted and is still targeted. They might dream of using the war in Ukraine now to weaken Russia and probably dream about the same event happening. The collapse of Russia will be a big advantage for them. It's a dream. They're now spending trillions and trillions by printing money to run the show in Ukraine. This will have to end at one point in time, and we need to look beyond that. Our bilateral partnership is based on our understanding on this historic mission of Russia. Russia has a historic mission to play on behalf of everybody in the world. I can say who is the leader of this show. Mr. Vladimir Putin is the leader of the show because of time, because of the challenge that we have. And Russia should take the lead. I'm not flattering anyone. I'm not doing any favor to you. I say this is a global challenge, and we have to this global challenge by identifying the role of each and every one of us in the whole story. Economic program, energy, water, infrastructure, name it. That's the easiest thing one can ever imagine. We'll have a strategy, we'll define the goals and objectives. Once we have a strategy put in place, we'll have detailed plans on each and every sector, each and every industry. We'll mobilize resources for implementing those programs. And we will see that implementing those programs will change the life of everybody in Africa, Asia, Latin America, even Europe and the United States. So our detailed plans for sectoral programs is ready. On each and every sector, we have our own strategic plans. Since 2012, we have designed details of each and every infrastructure program: roads, ports, airports, railway, ropeways, energy programs, water preservation and water management programs, irrigation, introducing technologies. Our human resource development strategy has been there. We discussed it yesterday with one of your ministers. We have at least agreed on the details on how we will go over this, because developing our human resource is a priority for us. There could be other resources, oil, gas, minerals, whatever. But our human resource is our human capital. We need to invest on that, and we can rely on the Russian Federation for developing our capacity to implement developmental programs by guaranteeing the qualified human resource that we need to develop. The details are there. Do we have the money? We'll try to mobilize every single penny. If we can't mobilize this resource, then we'll have come and say to our partners in the Russian Federation, these are our plans. If you have an idea or an opinion, alternatives, we would like to listen. Mobilizing resources is a shared responsibility, and we can mobilize our own resources from whatever is available. Mining, agriculture, manufacturing, we can do that. Thank you for your patience. But this war will have to be clearly defined as a declared war on the part of NATO and its allies. It's been going on for the last 30 years. It will continue for some time, but we'll stop it somehow. And the Russian Federation will have to take the brunt on that issue. Thank you.
What is it revolting against? The power structure. The American power structure? No. The French power structure? No. The English power structure? No. Then what power structure? An international Western power structure.
You know, my mother had an expression, out of everything terrible, something good will come if you look hard enough for it. I think this presents us with some significant opportunities to make some real changes. You know, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there. There's going to be a new world order out there. And we've got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway, I'm going to hush up, Mary, fire away.
The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century. It has laid bare the fundamental lack of social cohesion, fairness, inclusion, and equality. In short, we need a great reset.
This is an historic moment. We have in this past year made great progress in ending the long era of conflict and Cold War. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
The US presidential motorcade arrives at the United Nations, passing the ever-present groups of demonstrators assembled on the other side of the road. A sense of anticipation in the General Assembly chamber, and a warm reception for Barack Obama as he walks to the podium, his wife seated among the heads of state and dignitaries.
The time has come for the world to move in a new direction, We must embrace a new era of engagement based on mutual interest and mutual respect, and our work must begin now.
And the president outlined his vision of a new world order, in which the US would participate fully, one rooted on 4 basic principles.
Non-proliferation and disarmament, the promotion of peace and security, the preservation of our planet, and a global economy that advances opportunity for all people.
Among the speakers that followed the US president, the leader of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, speaking at the UN for the first time after 40 years in power. And waiving the UN Charter, he called for an end to any permanent membership of the Security Council, arguing that small nations should have the same rights as the big. It was a speech that lasted well over an hour and covered subjects ranging from jet lag to political assassinations.
And then the assassination or the killing of Kennedy in 63 or 62, the President of the United States of America. Why? We want to know who killed him. Somebody who by the name of Lee Harvey, and then another Jack Ruby killed Lee Harvey. Why did he kill him?
Earlier, the UN Secretary General had opened proceedings, sticking to his allotted time, calling for international unity.
If ever there were a time to act in a spirit of renewed multilateralism, a moment to create a United Nations of genuine collective action, it is now. Now is our time, a time to put the united back into the United Nations. United in purpose, united in action.
And a reminder that this UN building is due to be closed for renovation at the end of these proceedings.
Our common ambition is to make this outward renovation the symbol of inward renewal.
A renewal, importantly, in which the United States says it is willing to both lead and be part of.